There has been quite an increase, a troubling and dramatic increase in gun violence, especially with young kids, stealing guns, using guns, and committing terrible crimes, violent crimes.
That threat was addressed head-on through the creation of Operation Young Guns. Law enforcement agencies from across the area met in Flagler County in May to develop a plan. R.J. Larizza, state attorney for the 7th Judicial Circuit, led the collaboration.
When we look at what we call the young gun type of case, you're looking at a juvenile up to the age typically of around 25 years old. We've had kids as young as 12 years old who have been involved in gun violence or gun thefts, and all the way up to 25, 28 years old. So we're looking at that age range. We're also looking at certain charges. It could be a theft.
Larizza says Operation Young Guns has been successful in hotspots like Bunnell.
Most of y'all may remember you covered the story where we had the sign put out on US 1 because we had a 16-year-old murdered, and we were trying to solve that case. Then we had another 16-year-old murdered by kids who were not much older, if maybe even younger. We wound up getting indictments on 6 individuals for various crimes, and once we were able to get those folks in jail, it calmed down.
Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley issued a directive to residents.
But I think the important thing to take away is lock your guns up. And if you have young kids at home, secure your guns where they can't get them. Someone under the age can't legally buy a gun. So they're getting these guns in the black market, burglarizing cars, and stealing them.
He also had a message for young criminals.
You make the state attorney's list, young guns operation, that's not going to be good for you. Fair warning. You're liable to be charged as an adult, and you're certainly going to be a focus of strict prosecution.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you. There's been several arrests and traffic stops recently in Flagler County.
In the weekend roundup report from Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley, 12 people were taken to jail with 832 calls for service that were handled between 6 a.m. Friday, December 2nd and 6 a.m. Monday, December 5th. And there were 137 traffic violations.
Some of those arrests include inmate that was exposing himself to deputies. We also arrested a 13-year-old boy for sending written threats to kill after he became upset about a school dance. We also arrested multiple people for DUI, some after they crashed into a residence and then ran from deputies.
Sheriff Staley adds a request to parents to police your children at home so that their actions don't get to the level of an arrest. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
Flagler County gets a grant to pay for emergency sand dune rebuilding from the recent hurricanes.
County engineer Faith Al-Khatib says she has been working with the State Department of Environmental Protections to obtain the emergency funding.
DEP, they identify at least $20 million for emergency sand. We submit for that. We requested. When they called me and asked me how much money you need, I said I needed $20 million. But I want to be greedy. At this time, we got $5 million. They promised if any other counties, they decline to get some of that funding, they will bring it to Flagler County.
And additional money is on the way.
Recently on Friday, I got the good news from DEP. They agreed to give me that $3.8 million and use FEMA funding as a match toward this. This is a great accomplishment for our county.
The $5 million is in the form of a reimbursement, meaning the county will have to pay up front for the repair work. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Rich Petchke.
How has treatment for HIV changed?
Flagler County Medical Director Dr. Stephen Bickle said at one time patients took several medications if they could get them. Today, though,
typical patient in our clinic takes one pill a day that has 2 or 3 medications in the pill, and that's it.
Who is at risk for contracting HIV? Again, Dr. Bickle.
There are 2 modes of transmission, basically sexually and by blood products.
Bickle said on a recent episode of Flagler Health Matters that there are about 40,000 new cases of HIV in the U.S. every year, and of those, most are men in gay relationships. Don't forget there will be free HIV testing at the Health Department on December 28th. Flagler Health Matters is on WNZF Saturday mornings at 11:30 and on the Flagler radio app. Tomorrow, Dr. Bickle talks about medications that treat HIV. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.